I'm just here from Nostrum Data Centers just to share our vision on the ingredients that the Iberian Peninsula as a whole has to attract investment. Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for the applauses. That's good. Has all the ingredients to attract the investment in the digital infrastructure in artificial intelligence. Just to provide a little bit of context, what's happening now and what's disrupting the industry? Basically, from now until 2033, it's expected that the size of the market will be multiplied by 4. That means that especially when you see here, when it comes to artificial intelligence, it will grow the slice of the whole pie from 7% currently to 29%. But the increase is more dramatic if we take into consideration the current size, which is 2.5 trillion, will be up to 16 billion. That means that what will happen in terms of demand? So if we go here, we see that from we are in 25 to 33, there's going to be an exponential growth in the market. What does it mean? So what basically means is that at this very moment, the big AI factories are being built in the States, some in Asia, Southeast Asia, China, some large projects in Emirates, but this wave will come to Europe. And I think that most of the market interprets that the challenge is going to be more on the supply than the demand. So the operators like us, and many of the colleagues that you are around here, is to cope with the demand in the time to market that our potential customers are requiring. So this is going to be this, by the way, that shows the expected growth in Europe by the different geographical areas. As you might see, in a nutshell, that gets to the southern Europe is what is going to triple its size in the next coming years. And why is that? And that's again our vision. Our vision is that for big AI deployments, the first choice in Europe has been at the Nordics. But Nordics has some bottlenecks in terms of total power capacity. So what's next? In terms of pricing, Southern Europe and our thesis, which is the Iberian Peninsula, we have the lowest rate in kilowatt hours. So this is especially important because 25 years ago, with some of us were starting in the business, we were selling 2 kilowatts cabinets. Now a GB300 needs 152 kilowatts. A part of being worth like $7 million, which is the cost of the servers. That means that the power usage that it used to represent 10% of the bill of a tenant, now it becomes 65 or even 70%. So finding a spot where the electricity is relatively cheaper, because as an average, the Iberian Peninsula, which as you all know has the same pricing, purchase pricing, has a 33% lower than the average. And if you compare to countries like Germany or UK, it's less than the half. So that means that Southern Europe, that's the reason why it's expected to grow that. So the challenge for us as operators, and for most of you in the audience, is to be as fast as our tenants are requiring, which is not easy. It's going to be very challenging, and we will have a lot of fun in doing so. So if we go next, I mean, in a data center, especially in artificial intelligence, is the same thing. You need power, that's super important, land and connectivity. So the Iberian Peninsula has power, has land, has green power. Portugal produces like 75% of green energy. Spain is like 60%. And then connectivity. Look at this map. I mean, we get here plenty of subsea cables that are connecting to North America. Nuven will come this year, connecting to South Carolina. We got in the Iberian Peninsula and Bilbao, you got Grace Hopper or Maria. And then we got all the cables that surround Africa. So we are, as a matter of fact, Iberian Peninsula is a crossroad between continents. That means that we have this connectivity option, and this is far more convenient than the Nordics, because most of the capacity of the cables, especially since UK has abandoned the EU, are going more south. So if we draw a straight line between Lisbon and Sines, we have some friends of Sines here around, and you get a straight line to Barcelona that connects all this Atlantic, and we were talking, and Ivo was talking about what the Atlantic means. This link of the Atlantic gets to the Mediterranean and the Far East. So if you draw this line, you cross what our thesis is the most convenient locations for big AI factories, which is Portugal, Extremadura, where we are building a 500 megawatts data center. Of course, Madrid, Zaragoza. We all know how many developments are now in Zaragoza, and Barcelona. So the thesis is if you put something here, no matter where you are, and if you got power, you got land, and you got this amazing connectivity, these are all the ingredients to succeed. So let's move around. So this depicts exactly the same idea. We have, well, not all the cables are represented here, but are some of the most known. They get to Lisbon and Sines here, and you get to Extremadura, Madrid, Zaragoza, Barcelona. So honestly, I think that this represents a huge opportunity for the Iberian Peninsula, and our thesis is that no matter if it's Spain or Portugal, I think both markets are super attractive. All the hyperscalers, NeoCloud, Gen AI I talked to, they are just looking very closely what's available here, and they have demands of very, very, very demanding time to market necessities. So it's up to us to convert this into reality. So other than that, this works for Spain and Portugal, both. What do we have? Lower total cost of ownership. The usage of the electricity is one of the main factors. We also have, as an average, lower wages, maybe, and then cheaper land. But the main factor is electricity price. And if you compare, this would mean this delta in the difference of energy would represent up to 25% of the total cost of ownership. That's huge impact on the business plans for our potential customers. And this is absolutely higher compared to any country in Europe. Second one, higher grid energy. I mentioned before, Portugal produces like 75% of green power, Spain 60%. So this is compared to some grid saturation and lower focus on renewable energy on the rest of the country. I'm not saying they don't have any, but finally, I think it's outstanding what Spain and Portugal has to say on that field. Then land availability. We have relatively big countries for the average of Europe. Obviously, if you compare to other geographies like the States, there's nothing to do, but we have more availability of land. Then labor availability in best-in-class construction firms. Well, Spain, if it's known by anything in industry, is about their amazing and large infrastructure and construction groups that are building all over the world. So sometimes I've been asked, well, if we go to Spain, will you have ability to deliver in 18? Do you have construction? I mean, we have a lot of muscle on that area. Then relevant location. We discussed, we got land, we got power, and we are in the middle of the continents. So that provides and paves the way for a successful story. There's many people like us that are really implied on making this happen. And other than that, that's what we are. I mean, in our case, what we are developing is here in Badajoz. Well, it's depicted here, but Badajoz is just 5 kilometers from the Portuguese border. So we see this kind of axis in the southwest of the Iberian Peninsula, which provides an alternative location for super large AI deployment. So that's why we just summarize access to technical talent, strong support. There's a lot, well, especially in Spain, Aragon, where Zaragoza is located, has been very friendly, and the regional governments have been helping a lot to facilitate and speed up all the processes. And it's exactly the same what we found in Extremadura. That's perfect fit for hyperscale infrastructure and the integration of green resources at the vicinity. Because as a matter of fact, well, in Spain, I don't know if you're aware, but this is the region with highest density of PV plants in Europe as a whole. So then it's the commitment to sustainability if we use green energy, and obviously, well, projects like ours or the one of Star Campus, for instance, I understand water use effectiveness is 0, no use of water, and very, very, very efficient PUE. So that means that a part of being really green, we can offer a reduction on the total cost of ownership. So then, that's what we envisage. I mean, we have a lot of potential of cross-border collaboration. The projects, the size of the project that's going to come is going to be so huge that in most cases they will need to split the footprint. So that's why the companies in Portugal and companies in Spain have a lot of also of conversation and good partnership to attract, because I think if something is good for digital reality, for Star Campus, for us, it's all in our favor. We are creating the ecosystem for the AI world. So the Iberian region, we said, is the tech ecosystem. We got the land availability, and that's going to be real share benefits. One of the things is territorial cohesion. The massive scale of these huge requirements means that you need to find places where you have a lot of power and a lot of land. So sometimes this, in the big cities, it represents a bottleneck. That's why we think that this kind of decentralization of the largest data center will play also a kind of social role and benefit by providing this territorial cohesion. Other than that, which are the effects? There are many studies in the market that say, some of them, that every euro you invest in a data center provides like 9 euros of benefit to the community. What this will impact? I mean, only from now to the 2030, there's going to be expected direct investment. This is combined Spain and Portugal of 5 billion, and it can be even more than that. The jobs created around 20,000, all of them really high tech and high profile, let's say, jobs. New companies, that's the perfect, let's say, environment to create new ecosystems. And that's what we think, that around the studies point to more than 500 new companies that will grow just by side of this kind of effect. Then rural connectivity. I think there are some guys that I talked to are really engaged in that. Well, at least Spain, we have the, let's say, the strongest fiber to the home network in Europe. So that means that providing this AI and being close to the final users will also provide some benefit to the society as a whole. And just to finish, this is our vision. Southwestern Europe, not a location. We can build here the digital infrastructure for the future. So we need to be intelligent, sustainable, and cooperate between the two sides of the border. And if we do so, the Iberian Peninsula will become the hub that everybody is willing to happen. And we will work to make it happen. So thank you, muito obrigado.